Oh, sorry, everyone. We were just making out after watching this super sexy, hot movie called Lethal Weapon.
You think this is a super hot, sexy movie?
So hot, so sexy.
Really? What was sexy about this movie besides the saxophone?
That's what it is.
Just the saxophone?
That saxophone was hot, bro.
Yeah, and...
And Mel Gibson's butt? You didn't think Mel Gibson's butt was hot?
I mean, he was buff. Can we just talk about him
Mel's
getting...
in shape.
Yes, he was rocking, and the mullet was swaying in the breeze, so I can definitely get behind that, but yeah.
So sometimes I have this question where I don't know if what I saw out of Mel was a mullet or not. Like, to me...
What would you call that?
I would just call it having long, luscious hair.
Uh-huh.
Like, I don't think everything's a mullet.
You don't think so, huh?
No.
Well, let's, examine the evidence. How long do you think the top of it was? Do you think the top of it was...
I mean, it was...
Shorter than the back, maybe?
It was shorter than the back. The top is always shorter than the back, no matter what. So that's not the reason. You can have long hair and not have it be a mullet.
Do you think it was disproportionately shorter than the back?
No, I think that it was a fair length on the top, and then it was an extra fair length on the back.
Dude, it's totally a mullet. You just had to accept it. He looked good. It was okay. He has a mullet in Braveheart as well. That's just what...
That isn't a mullet.
That's a mullet.
That's long hair.
Buzzed on top, party in the back.
It's not buzzed.
It's pretty much.
No, he does not have a mullet in Braveheart. There was a time, not everybody had mullets back in the day when it was just long hair. Long rocker hair is not mullets. They're just long rocker hair.
Interesting debate.
Chime in on the Facebook this week. Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't been able to figure it out by now, we're talking about this week on Summers Off, Lethal Weapon. Wait, I did announce it, I guess, so.
That's all right. I like to officially start it with, hey, listeners.
Hey.
How are you?
What's
Welcome
up?
back. Lethal Weapon 1. Coming at you.
Yep.
We did not do all of them. How many are there? Are there like 6?
No, there's only 4.
Oh, okay. Well, we didn't do the thing where we watch all of them and we're going to podcast about all of them. This is just about numero uno.
Would have been awesome, by the way. Would have been very cool for us to do that, but we're not.
Have you seen all 4?
I have, but 3 and 4 have been a while. I watched 2 last night after we watched 1.
Okay. How did 2 compare to 1? Did you...
I mean, we can get into it a little bit.
All right.
It's a little more like, it's a little more action-y even. Like,
okay.
it's...
More action-y?
Yeah, it's more like stereotypical American action movie. More like
Okay.
Die Hard.
Okay, fair enough.
Because I would not call this the same as Die Hard.
Is it still
But
Mel
we might debate
Gibson
that.
and Danny Glover in
Yep.
number 2? How about number 3?
Number 3 as well, and number 4.
And number 4?
The villain in number 4, first movie pretty much ever for Jet Li.
Oh, no way.
Jet Li's the villain.
Ooh, yeah, cool. Very cool.
Those are all moves.
I don't know, listeners, if you know this little tidbit, but Ty is a yellow belt.
Yellow belt, baby.
I forgot what it was for a second. A yellow belt,
Yep,
everyone.
which-
So hide your kids, hide your wives. Ty's a
I
yellow
know
belt.
that sounds intimidating, but it really means I only put in about 6 weeks worth of work. But I'm still a yellow, baby. So you better watch yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Rach, are you a color in Taekwondo?
No, but I would like to be at some point.
You came to my color training or whatever, my testing.
Yeah.
When I got my yellow belt. You were there.
I saw you.
And we were just buddies, and you came to it.
Yeah,
That's
you were
when
great.
I knew.
That's when you
were the
knew?
one.
That I come and watch you do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was a good friend.
I broke a board. Do you remember that?
Nope.
You don't?
Did you break the board?
Yeah, he said I could break it with my foot or with my hand. He said the hand is a little harder. What do you think I did?
Hand.
Of course I did the hand. You out your mind.
Did it hurt?
Psst, no, because I'm awesome.
I always think it's a trick board. I think, there's no way.
I could break a board right now.
No.
Right now.
No,
Let's get it
you
on the
have to
podcast.
have somebody holding it in a certain way, and I don't know how to do that. They put pressure on it in a certain... It's got to be a certain thickness.
But anyways.
It's very impressive.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And I'll break some stuff for you later on tonight.
All right. What if, like, when we did our house remodel, like, you just, like, refused to saw anything? You're like, no, it's okay. I don't have time to go downstairs. I'll just break it.
I can do it with my hands.
Jeff, hold this. Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
That'd be awesome.
So back to Lethal Weapon.
Yes.
The first movie is a little bit different than all the rest of the movies.
Oh,
I would
okay.
say the first movie has the darkest, most like serious tone, and then they get increasingly kind of goofy and like silly and outlandish as you go along. That's my perception of them, at least. I haven't seen 3 though for a long time.
Do they all take place at Christmas?
No.
So I kind of think that this is a Christmas movie, similar to Die Hard. Like, it's all around the holiday season. I don't know if you had remembered that, but...
I didn't remember that this was a Christmas movie.
Yeah. I think technically, I would say it's a Christmas movie.
Just like Die Hard. And the funny thing is, with Die Hard, like you mentioned, it came out a year after this. Die Hard stole so much from this movie.
Wow.
When I was watching it, I was like, oh, Die Hard, you little punks.
Die Hard came out just a year after.
Just a year after.
Oh, that's interesting.
But you know what movie came out before this, which I was surprised by? Beverly Hills Cop.
Oh, well.
Take that for what it's worth. That's a little trivia know-how for you that only Summers Off listeners get.
Definitely in our cop movie heyday. I think the late 80s was just like cop heaven.
We were really killing it.
Yeah.
Rach, for those of us, you mentioned cops, but maybe you can give us a little more intel on what to expect if we have never seen any of the Lethal Weapon movies.
Yeah.
What could we see if we came to those movies?
So I don't know if this is the original cop buddy movie, but we're just going to say it's one of the first, right?
Yeah,
For sure.
I mean, there's other ones that were out there that were even around in the 70s, but like as far as really, really popularizing the genre, this is it right here.
Yeah. Yeah, so you've got like your typical buddy cops. You've got your, play it by the book cop, pretty straight-laced, rule follower.
Who plays that role?
Danny Glover. And has a wife and kids. He just really has everything going for him. Great guy. Turns 50. It's his 50th birthday in it, so you can kind of tell like he's in the prime of his career, wanting to start to wind down here. And then he gets saddled with this other cop, this like, on the edge, crazy, might be psychotic cop who everyone doesn't want to work with because he's like a little too out there, but his body, I think this is one of the taglines, is a lethal weapon.
Oh, I thought you were just gonna say, but this guy's body is off the charts.
Well, let's just talk about
I thought that's where you're going.
Late 80s Mel Gibson's body. Wow. Yeah, let's talk about that. That deserves a moment of silence.
He was rocking and rolling.
It was good. It was good.
And he was 31 at the time.
He's 31?
Yep. Actually, I think when they filmed, he was 30. Gotcha. Or when they casted, he was 30. But yeah, he was 31 when this movie gets released.
Gotcha. So a young buck.
Yep.
But yeah, so they get saddled together and then they have to, solve this case that seems like it's shutting open, but it's not, as most cases aren't, and you can probably assume the rest of it.
Oh, I don't know if they can. That's why they should go see the movie, because it's full of whips and turns and takes you down rabbit holes. This one is more like investigating what's going on and not completely understanding for a little while into the movie. The other movies are very much like, that group is our villains, and they're introduced early in the movie, and they're like Germans or like South Africans in the second movie. And so, yeah, this movie has a little bit of mystery around it, but not a ton.
I mean, you say that, but I think I knew pretty early on that the guy who lit the other guy on fire was probably going to be our main bad guy. And
you mean when they do the trick? Okay, so explain that scene a little bit.
I don't need to. I think it's
so Gary Busey plays like the second in command of the main bad guy. And the main bad guy, there's a guy who's like, how can I trust you? And he's like, give me your hand to Gary Busey. And Gary Busey sticks out his hand and he puts a lighter underneath it and he just starts burning his flesh. And Gary Busey just keeps it there because he's so loyal.
Yeah, he's such a weird looking guy and he's just making the weirdest faces.
Gary Busey?
Yeah. A young Gary Busey.
Young Gary Busey's awesome.
And are we... I got a little confused with some of these plot turns, and maybe we'll get into it. But at some point...
We probably won't, so you might as well bring it up now.
Well, okay, so Gary Busey is like this, second in command honcho, and he's blonde and kind of albino-y. Are we supposed to believe that he is courting the Danny Glover's daughter?
What?
Yeah.
What?
Didn't you get that?
that Gary Busey is courting Danny Glover's daughter?
Yeah, in the movie, because remember, Danny Glover's listening to the scanner, and they're like, you need to head back to your house. We got a call on a guy, blonde hair, something like that. Like, you know what I mean? Did I just mishear that?
Yeah, I think
Sorry, listeners.
the guy with dimples. Okay, so there's a scene where you find out that that Danny Glover's daughter's been dating this kid who has blonde hair and dimples.
Yes.
I didn't take it that was Gary Busey, but I mean, you bring up a fascinating thing if that's true. I thought that it was just some random teenager, and then they said, well, now you're making me question everything. Because then on the radio, they're like, there's somebody who's been shot, and it was the boyfriend to his daughter, and he goes, she had blonde hair and dimples. I think that kid just got shot.
He got shot?
Yeah, I think like when Gary Busey was running around the neighborhood, I think he shot him.
Oh.
At the end.
Okay, well,
so
I'll
he just
be
knew
honest,
he was close to his house.
It is hard. They maybe should have clarified that and not have made Gary Busey so blonde.
And have dimples.
And have dimples.
Well, now you're throwing that out there, and I'm like, what the heck did happen? I don't know.
Listeners, just put a pin in that. We'll rewatch that part, and we'll make sense of it, and we'll get back to you.
No,
Sorry for
probably
any
not,
confusion.
though.
Apologies. Continue. So, yeah, that's the synopsis.
That's pretty much it.
That's it.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, I have no idea when I first saw this movie. I know it's one of those things when we were watching it, I was like, dude, I don't remember almost any of this.
Oh, yeah?
Okay, I'm going to tell you all the things I remembered from this movie.
Okay.
I remembered the Gary Busey holding his hand up and then getting burned by the lighter. I remember that part. I remember the part at the very beginning where the girl is like high on cocaine and she jumps off the ledge in the hotel. I remember that.
And she makes a perfect landing on top of a car. And she just is so graceful.
She does. Her arm is situated in such a beautiful way. And there's no blood pouring out of the back of her head or anything.
She's fallen probably off the equivalent of a mountain, and then she rests, and her robe is just open enough to see her left chi-chi. And so it's oh gosh, come on.
And then I remembered the part which we're gonna get into. I mean, we can get into it now if you want to, but the part where Mel Gibson takes the gun and he puts it in his mouth.
Oh.
And he's about to kill himself.
Yeah, he has a moment where he's having a kind of a psychotic break.
Yep.
And missing his wife, who we've learned died in a horrific car accident.
Yes.
Maybe just the year before. Maybe.
But in movie 2, you find out one of the villains in movie 2.
What are you going to say? Are you spoiling something?
I'll spoil something for movie 2ers.
Oh, but that's me.
Okay, sorry. If you're ever going to watch it, I apologize to you now.
All right.
So in movie 2, we find out. So his wife is dead. You find that out in movie 1. You don't think it's about anything. Movie 2, you find out Mel Gibson was getting close to the South African group that was dealing with all this drug trade thing coming in. And they were a powerful white group that was on the bad side of the apartheid. Is that how you call it? In South Africa. And then you find out one of the guys, the main general guy's head honcho, or his second in command, I mean, the Gary Busey of that movie, that he ordered a hit on Mel Gibson, but he didn't realize his wife was driving the car. And so they killed his wife on accident, thinking it was him. So you're like, oh, it's his wife's killer. I used to get revenge.
That sounds one of those things that we add after the fact. We're like, oh, you know what?
Hey, we could tie this in.
We never said specifically. Nice how that works out for you.
And one thing about the second movie that's not as fun is Danny Glover. I feel like he gets a little shortchanged in movie 2.
Oh.
In movie 1, I think that it's pretty equal, but in movie 2, it's the Mel show. It definitely is. His star is very strong.
Yeah, I enjoy it when you have a buddy cop movie. I like the balance between the two, especially the one that's more straight-laced. I just think that offers so much comedy there. And I'll be honest,
The Odd Couple.
It's done 1,000 times, and we'll get into that, I think, later on. How I feel about that.
Okay. So let's talk a little bit about how this movie came to be. So there was a guy, his name is Shane Black, and he pumped out this script in 6 weeks. He just threw it together. He was only 25 at the time. He had graduated from UCLA, and he was trying to become an actor. And he was writing on the side, just trying to get a break of something. Well, he thought it was so bad that he threw it in the trash at one point, but then he fished it back out, and he was like, nah, I'm going to keep going on it. It's not horrible. Well, anyways, he was working on it all the time because he wanted to write an urban Western. That was his whole goal.
Hmm.
So how do I make an urban Western? He got paid $400,000 for the script. And one interesting thing about this guy is you actually know who he is. Because he was in the movie Predator. He played the guy with glasses and the hat, the kind of like nerdy guy who would say dirty jokes all the time.
Yeah.
That's Shane Black. He wrote this movie.
Interesting.
Yep, and then he continued his acting career, and then he was in the Predator movie.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yep.
That's very cool.
The director. It was first offered to this guy named Leonard Nimoy, who was director of the Star Trek movies.
Yeah, I know that name.
You do?
Yeah.
Wow, that's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Do you tell us about Star Trek versus Star Wars? Break it down for us.
Oh, no, I don't want to do that.
What do you like better?
Well, I like Star Wars better. I don't really know Star Trek at all to speak about it.
But
so...
you like Chris Pine. You think Chris Pine's super hot.
Yeah, but I haven't even really seen those movies in their entirety. The new ones.
Well,
so I am not the person to ask about that.
You saw the second one. We watched it together.
I don't remember any of it, dude.
Oh, that's fine.
I don't. I'm getting anxious. Just
yeah, you're getting sweaty.
I know. You put me on the firing squad, and I will not.
So
I can't.
you pick Star Wars over Star Trek, though.
I do. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
That's good to know. I agree with you. I have some friends who would disagree with you, and they'll get mad if you talk some smack about Star Trek
That's
right
why
now. Why don't you talk a little smack?
I never said a word. Listeners, I never said a word.
Well, this guy, he directed the Star Trek movies.
Okay.
And
the new ones?
No, the old ones.
Oh, okay.
And he actually did not stay on the project for very long, and they got rid of him, and they replaced him with Richard Donner. Does that name sound familiar at all?
No.
He directed another film from one of our Summers Off movies. I'm going to give you a hint. He also directed Superman. Does that toggle any bell chimes?
I know I
in your old
should,
brain bone?
but it's not ringing.
All right, let me give you another hint. Think Star Wars. Hey, you guys!
Oh, Goonies.
Richard Donner was the guy that Goonies played all those tricks on.
Oh.
The Steven Spielberg got him to play that trick at the very end of it, and he was kind of annoyed with the kids the whole time because they're assholes. That's Richard Donner.
Okay.
He did Lethal Weapon. He did Superman.
Quite the resume.
Well, what's nice is we've done so many Summers Off episodes that now we can always tie it back into other Summers Off episodes.
That's true.
Donner edited some of the script, though. One of the things that he didn't like that Shane Black had put in there is Shane Black had heads exploding and red mist falling everywhere. He had a very bloody script. And Richard Donner was like, we're going to cut a lot of that out.
Yeah.
But it's still rated R. And I mean, there's still graphic things in it. There's still a lot of cussing in it. There's still a boobie.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I didn't know that this was rated R until maybe 2 seconds in. I think you see someone topless within the first 30 seconds of the movie, so they're like, oh, it's rated R. But yeah, I could go without the exploding heads. You know me. I'm not really one for all the gore and whatnot unless it's done, tastefully, in Scarface.
I was just going to say, what's a tasteful gore movie look like for you?
Like a tasteful arm chopping off in the shower scene. I thought that was
with the chainsaw.
done.
Yeah, yep. That is tasteful. You're right. What about Predator? Would you say that was tasteful?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I
loved
thought so too.
the skinned bodies hanging in the trees. I thought, whoa.
That was cool.
That was cool.
So, Danny Glover. Danny Glover was, before this movie, I don't know if you're familiar with his filmography a whole lot. I wasn't at all.
Angels in the Outfield.
Which was after this movie.
Oh, very good. So it took a step up.
Yep.
I see.
No, I don't know about that. It's ahead of ourselves.
That's a step up in my book.
So Danny Glover, which I've never seen this movie, was in The Color Purple in 1985. So just this movie, I think also came out in 1985. So that was a hot year for him.
Yeah.
But so the casting director, no, maybe this movie was 87. I don't know. It'll come up in a little bit here. But the casting director, he wanted him for Murtaugh right away. Casting director was like, we got to go with Danny Glover. And Richard Donner had a problem with it because he's like, I just don't see anywhere in the script that he's black.
Oh, no.
And then Donner now, he makes fun of himself big time because he's like, why? I don't know why that even came out of my mouth at the time. I just think Danny Glover works as a character. It doesn't matter if he's black or not. But at the time, that was what he was quoted as saying, but it doesn't say he has to be black.
Yeah, Yeah, exactly. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that sounds about right though for 87.
What'd you think of? What'd you think of Danny Glover?
I thought he was great. I try to think of what else I've seen him in too besides Angels
If
in the
you've seen
Outfield.
Predator 2, you've seen him in that.
I have
And Gary Busey's in that too.
not seen Predator 2,
Wow,
but we
you
can put
should
it on the
check
list.
it out, bro.
I thought he was great. Yeah, I thought he played the character well. And it wasn't so much his character, but more of like Mel Gibson's character. I think overall the movie I had an issue with their voiceovers. Like they just were too quiet. There were so many like little added in voiceovers, but they almost felt like a little mumbled. And it's like, that was really funny. I really wish you would have like bumped that up. Like there's one spot where like Mel Gibson gets shot and he's like, 2-inch lower, and I would have been a falsetto. Like it's funny, but I didn't like. I had to say, wait, what did he say?
He's got a bunch of those.
Yeah.
He says like all these little quips, and I think I wonder if some of them were added in. The way that they're
Fair
delivered,
enough.
they almost sound like you know how when somebody ad libs and you're like, hey, you can say it, but you need to make it a line. Don't make it an ad lib where it's always quiet and hushed. So he had some other ones too. He goes, if I was driving before you were an inch in your daddy's pants, or before you were an itch in your daddy's pants.
Yep, I remember
think
that
that was
one.
awesome.
That was a
or
good
maybe Danny Glover said that to Mel.
Danny Glover said that to Mel.
But it was super funny little quip. The 2 inches lower, I would have been a falsetto for life. And then he had that one at the end of the movie where Mel Gibson goes, what did one shepherd say to the other shepherd? Let's get the flock out of here.
It's all right.
Let's do what one shepherd said to the other shepherd.
Oh, what?
Let's get the flock out of here.
What is all this? But it was fun. It was a good time.
I did enjoy those. I did.
Those little quips. And I just got the feeling like those were quips that they came up with. I had a hard time believing that somebody wrote those in a script. But who knows? Could have been written.
Hard to say.
Now, with Mel Gibson, there was a lot of... So Die Hard and Lethal Weapon are tied together because they're both franchises that came out around the same time. They both continued on. They both outstayed their welcome. Lethal Weapon 4 and Die Hard 4 are known as like the two worst ones in those chronologies. And they're kind of bound together because of how their casting went too.
Okay.
Lethal Weapon first offered the role of Riggs to Bruce Willis.
Whoa.
And Die Hard, the character, I don't remember what is his name. Oh, gosh.
Yippee-ki-yay.
Yippee-ki-yay. Shoot, I don't remember what his name is. Jack something, maybe? But anyways, they offered that role to Mel before they went to Bruce Willis.
Whoa. So both of them turned down these cop movies.
To be in the other cop
obviously
movies.
they had regrets and they're like, no, I want to be in a different cop movie.
Yeah, and what's interesting is, so Mel technically could have been in both. Because Die Hard comes out the year after this movie. And so Mel could have went from Lethal Weapon into Die Hard, but he turned it down. And then Bruce Willis obviously could have been in Lethal Weapon before he was ever in Die Hard. So,
Oh, weird. I mean, I like how it shook out, but it also would be interesting to flip-flop them because, I'll be honest, they're similar in some aspects. I think Mel's character is written a little bit crazier.
yeah, yep.
But
I think Bruce Willis could pull off crazy.
oh, yeah. Easy style. Especially like when he's walking on glass with his bare feet. Yeah, he's crazy.
Hey, I'll save it. But don't let me forget to ask you Die Hard versus Lethal Weapon. Because we
Okay.
got to get into it.
We gotta get into it.
All right, so I'm going to tell you some other people that Riggs went to because Mel wasn't even the second choice.
Oh,
Bruce Willis was
really?
number one, and then it went through this whole slew of other people. Listen to all these freaking names. It's crazy.
Okay.
Jeff Goldblum,
Oh.
Christopher Reeve, Patrick Swayze, Pierce Brosnan, Michael Douglas,
No.
Nick Cage,
No.
Al Pacino, Kurt Russell, Robert De Niro, Richard Gere,
What?
Harrison Ford, Michael Keaton,
I think
Charlie Sheen. All those people got offered, reportedly,
reportedly.
over Mel.
And they all said no?
Yeah, apparently.
Because why?
I mean, some of them might have been busy. It might have just been, I don't know.
I mean, it was the late 80s.
I don't put like a ton of stock into like the casting things because
That's
you don't
true.
know if it was just a conversation or not. And they made a list of all these people and then it got out. Like,
Mm-hmm.
here's all the people they're considering for Lethal Weapon. And then when Mel gets it, they're like, oh, the Mel got it over all these people. Like, or like they went with these people first and they must have turned it down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's never like a true story about it. It's always just like, this was offered to so-and-so.
Yeah, like
But with
Richard
Bruce Willis-
Richard Gere is a lawyer. He's not not a cop. He's never going to play the crazy cop.
But Bruce Willis, we know for sure, was
Okay.
offered and turned it down.
And that makes sense to me. That is one of the only ones out of that group that makes the most
But that
sense.
is just like a who's who of people that I
Yeah.
just listed off.
Were they... Yeah, are they all like around that same age too?
No, they're all over the place.
Yeah, they're kind of like messes with the character a little bit.
For sure. Like Christopher Reeve and Charlie Sheen, like they're way big age gap apart from each other.
For sure.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyways,
Crazy.
yep, kind of nuts. So Mel Gibson was cast when he was 30, but the character of Riggs, and you had a question about this. Riggs is supposed to be 38 years old.
Oh, well, that makes sense because he was married to his wife of like 10 or 11 years, and so I didn't think he was
And
like
he was
a
in
20-something.
Vietnam.
That's right. Yeah, he kept talking about kept saying things about like something in the war. And I was like, are we supposed to believe that Mel Gibson was in the Vietnam War? I was just having a tough time wrapping my head around that. Aha!
So he's supposed to be 38. Now Glover, when he was cast, he was 40, but he played a 50-year-old. So they're both playing up in age.
Yeah. But I think especially like 40 to 50, I don't know, especially nowadays, like 50 looks pretty good on a lot of people thanks to good skincare routines, some
Do you have some
self-care.
50-year-olds you're crushing on right now?
I can neither confirm nor deny the crush is on a few 50-plus
You crushing on Danny Glover, girl? So Gary Busey is insane.
Yeah, wait. Oh, why did we turn the tide on that? Oh, not attractive 50-plus-year-old.
He wanted to imbue his character with. By the way, he was like at this time he was not in a whole lot of movies. His career had taken a major tailspin, and so he lost 60 pounds for this role, even for the audition, and then went in there to try to like regain his career, and he got the role, and it kind of gave him a huge bump through like the beginning of the 90s. But Gary Busey is so nuts. He studied animals to try to get into character for this role.
Oh, a little animology. What's that called?
Anthropomorphization.
That's the ticket.
Can you think of an animal that he would have studied for this character?
I love this when people do that. Because didn't the guy in Terminator, wasn't he like a shark or like a falcon?
Yeah, he was like bird-like. Yep.
Yeah,
yep.
bird-like.
And then when he went through crowds, yeah, he said he was like a shark in the crowds.
Okay.
But otherwise, his head was always going side to side like an owl or eagle or something.
Okay, so Gary Busey was channeling maybe like a puma, maybe like a codfish.
How does one imbue their character with codfish qualities?
I don't know. He just has just a weird mouth.
Oh, okay.
Like a
That's where you're
codfish
going
with
it.
dentures. What's an animal with big teeth?
Horse? Like a donkey?
Yeah? Donkey?
Yep.
Is the donkey the answer?
No. No.
It's hard to say.
It's also a shark.
A shark?
But I didn't get it.
I didn't get
was
any
watching it and I
sharks.
was like, I just don't see the sharkisms.
No. I mean, he was pretty stiff, and I don't know. I could take it or leave it.
Yeah.
Gary Busey, number 2. Don't really care.
Yeah. So Gary Busey's performance, what would you say about it?
I'd say it's like whatever. It's like,
Do you like Jake Busey in Starship Troopers more than Gary Busey in Lethal Weapon?
oh, yes.
Yeah, I
Yes.
do too.
I
Everybody needs a
forgot
friend like me.
I forgot about it. Yeah, he had a lot of personality.
Mm-hmm.
He had a lot of personality. He was fun.
So you like his son better?
I do.
Okay. Now, Glover and Gibson, when they were on set together, they had instant chemistry. They just connected. They had a great time on set. They became actual buddies in real life.
Cool.
And yeah, so they would joke around on the set all the time, and it was really, really fun. Could you tell? What would you think of their chemistry?
I thought they had good chemistry. They seemed like good buds. Yeah, like when Danny Glover invites him in for dinner, I really believe that he's inviting his buddy in for dinner.
Mm-hmm.
And as a friend, he's saying, yeah, I'll come in and have dinner. So, yeah, I think...
How does one mess that part up, though?
I don't know. I just think, like, yeah.
Hey, do you
I
want to
can see
have
this.
some dinner with me? I don't know, man. I'm just not super hungry. Like, I
Yeah.
believed it.
Yeah.
He invited him to dinner.
I believed it, and he accepted.
Yeah, okay. Well, job accomplished, eh?
I think so.
Now, to prep for the shoot, they shadowed LAPD officers, and they had to learn 3 forms of martial arts.
Oh, okay.
And one of the forms was called Jailhouse Rock, What's Jailhouse Rock like, Rach? Tell me about Jailhouse Rock fighting style.
Jailhouse Rock fighting style?
Yep.
Oh, that would be when the part at the end where like they're like swinging at each other with like batons and things like that, and they're like rolling around in the mud and just like rolling. I think a lot of rolling.
There's a lot of rolling in Jailhouse Rock.
There's a lot of rolling in Jailhouse Rock.
So what Jailhouse Rock is, this is a fighting style that's born out of like prison fighting. So like whenever there's a fight in prison, that's called Jailhouse Rock style.
Okay.
Like people who specialize in that.
And meaning what?
It just means it's Jailhouse Rock style.
Meaning like no holds barred.
I
Like,
think so.
Doesn't matter. If if you break someone's face.
Yep,
we're
like
in jail.
Like
we're gonna
headbutts, jams to the nose.
Sure,
There's
we're
no
gonna be
form or
abusive
method.
to our prisoners. Yeah, that makes sense.
No, I don't think it's like how the guards beat up the people. It's like
think-
how prison yard fights happen.
Well,
That's
think
Jailhouse Rock.
maybe it is.
Well, you'd be wrong. So Donner, he would try to make Mel throw punches like John Wayne. So he would study John Wayne movies and see how like he would punch people. I don't know what's
John Wayne throwing a punch.
I don't know. Well, there's the roundhouse. There's like the John Wayne roundhouse in every Western movie. So I don't know if that's one of them.
Just to have like a really big like.
There's like
back,
a wind up,
show
yes,
'em.
a little bit, yeah.
Okay.
Yep. But even like all your classic Westerns have like a little bit of a certain fight choreography style that's like a little interesting and kind of particular to that genre.
Yeah.
And some of it is like more the show mom, the wind ups. There's lots of like wind up punches rather than like a punch like straight to the face that would be like more economic in movement. Like these would be more like rounder.
Nah. It's all for the glitz. Hey, we are gonna talk about that last epic fight. Are we not?
We can talk about. I don't
you
have it
a
written in,
section?
but we can talk about it.
I mean, just because you're talking about fighting styles.
Yeah, let's talk
like,
about it right
I don't
now.
know what mix of that was. I think I saw some mixed martial arts.
Saw
in
some
there.
Jailhouse Rock, maybe.
Some Jailhouse Rock, some MMA holds. We're done.
Yeah, we got a triangle at the end.
Yep.
It's awesome.
So I just found it so. There's a lot of. I have a section called unlikely in my notes, and so this is it.
You always have these negative sections.
Well, I had questions, right? So it's at the end of the movie. We finally catch up with good old Gary Busey, right?
Yep.
He's at Danny Glover's house, and Danny and Mel are hot on the scene, and they get there first, and they essentially almost like they fight him and they get him into handcuffs, and then Mel goes to him. He says, "Do you want a shot at the title?" and so they take him out of handcuffs, and then the two of them just start fighting on the grass and on the lawn in the front, and they've hit a hydrant, so there's like water, obviously. Like
it's raining too, I think.
I think it's just the hydrant spewing
Oh, is it just
water
the hydrant?
everywhere. It's LA. There's probably not rain.
It was raining the next day, remember? And you were like, "Hey, there's no rain."
That's also fake rain. But yeah, so then like, all these police officers who have been called to the scene for backup start showing up, and Danny Glover's going around like, no, let them fight it out, let them finish it.
Sergeant Riggs arrest. I'll take full responsibility. The son of a bitch just killed 2 of our men.
And then like this helicopter's coming in, and it's got this big spot, and like they're just like rolling around, and everyone's just watching them fight. And then part of me is like, come on. Like I had a little bit of an eye roll. Like you can still have that fight, but like make it so nobody called for backup and it's just you guys. Like to me, that's like a lot more.
Yeah.
Like there's more tension there, because if something goes wrong and if he kills Mel Gibson,
Sure.
then it's just on Danny, and Danny should have shot him. You know, like.
Yep.
But you're surrounded by like 40 plus police officers. It's like, well, this is stupid.
No, it's the code of honor, Rach. That Danny Glover, they said he is the commanding officer on site. Do you remember that? They said it over the radio.
I do remember that. Like
They say
oh.
Officer Murtaugh's,
It's his call.
Sergeant Murtaugh's in charge. It's his call on this site because it's his house.
I know.
And so the cops are all there. And if Danny Glover says, "You guys step back, let them fight it out," then you have to. He's the commanding officer.
I thought it was so dumb. I thought it was so dumb.
It was awesome. They had one last duel.
Yeah.
A fight to the death. They were both special forces. They both like worked in kind of like assassinations during Vietnam. Both Gary Busey and Mel Gibson. Did you get that? That's why they had the same tattoo?
I think they should have like beefed up some more of that. I do get that, but they could have done a better job in the movie of like creating the build up to that last fight, I think.
Well, you might be correct.
I think there's a lot of things that could have been built up better.
Now, there is that opening scene with the girl that you were talking about where she lands so pristinely.
Yeah.
So that scene was done. There was a big airbag on the street, and they painted the airbag to look like the street and the car that she was going to land on. So like in that shot when they look down, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Like from the vantage point of the balcony, that's all a huge airbag that's been painted.
What?
Yeah. And so then the stunt person jumped down, landed in the
Really
airbag.
jumped?
Really jumped. And
What?
then they cut, and then they show her like on the car or whatever, looking pristine.
Well,
like we
yeah, but
mentioned.
like, fell from how far?
I don't know if it was as far as they make it look.
Oh
like
my
it's a
gosh.
camera trick, but
yeah. Oh.
looks pretty impressive, eh?
Eh?
Yeah, you like that, eh?
Eh? That's pretty cool. Little movie magic.
Yeah, that's a little movie magic for you. Now there's a classic line in this movie, Rach. What's the most famous line in this movie?
Oh, I loved it. I think it's Danny Glover's line.
Yep.
He keeps saying over and over again. He's like, I'm getting too old for this shit.
Raj, meet your new partner.
I'm too old for this shit.
Yep, it's awesome. I'm getting too old for this shit.
Story of my life.
They actually stole that line. That's from another movie called To Live and Die in L.A.
Oh, no
They
way.
stole it.
Was it a line, do you know, in that movie? Did they use it over and over again?
have
Or was
no
it maybe
idea.
used just once and they're like, love it? And
Maybe just once.
Because
but
they use it all the time in this
Yep.
movie.
And they did the 1, 2, 3 thing in this movie, right? Like 1, 2, 3, are we going on 3 or not? Because that's a through line joke. Or is that developed in number 2?
I don't know.
Okay.
You shouldn't have watched number 2. Now you're
I
confused.
know, now I'm confused. But
I don't
there's
remember
this
that.
also joke that kind of continues to play along throughout the whole series, just like I'm getting too old for this shit.
Mm-hmm.
There's also this 1, 2, 3 joke where like Danny Glover never knows, like, do we go on 3? Is it 1, 2, 3, then we go? Do we say go? Like
Great
he always
questions.
wonders like how it goes.
Great
And Mel
questions.
Gibson's like, it's 1, 2, 3, and we go on 3, and he's like, but on 3 or after 3? Like it's this through line joke. Now, Rach, if we are getting ready to go, is it 1, 2, 3? 1, 2, 3, go?
1, 2,
3.
3. I would say
we're moving on 3,
it's
right?
we move on the 3.
That's what I always thought too.
I think so. But now, like, the more that you're talking about this, I think that this is essentially what you and I would be like as cops together.
Oh my gosh.
I am like, obviously, the crazy one.
You're Riggs?
No, I'm Danny Glover.
Yeah, I was
I'm
just saying,
Danny
I don't know
Glover.
about that.
I'm Danny Glover through and through, and you're the
I'm Riggs, you're
the wild
Murtaugh.
card. You're the crazy guy.
Yeah, there would be things that would happen in this movie. Like he would act nuts and like kind of a little suicidal and like would get in people's faces even when they have guns and act like he's so crazy and stuff. And Rach would go, "You're just loving this, aren't you?" I was like, "Yeah, this is awesome. This is how I
Did
used to
I?
feel before you came in my life. I felt invincible. Like I'll do anything."
Did I say that out loud?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah, you said you're
I thought
loving this, aren't you?
I just thought it. I'm glad I said that out loud.
I'm not like that anymore.
You're
I've
just in
calmed
heaven
way
right
down.
now.
But yeah, back in the day.
Yes,
for
I'm sure he was just your idol. Like, oh, this cop, he's so cool. He's such a loose cannon. He's just, wow, lethal weapon.
He's awesome.
I'm jumping!
Do you really want to jump? Do you wanna? Well, then that's fine with me. Come on. Let's do it, asshole. Let's
Wait a
do
minute!
it.
What?
I want to
What
do it.
mean? Wait a
I want to
minute.
do it.
What do you mean?
Riggs is so cool. So the film was released on March 6th in 1987. So a little over a month before we were born.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
And the movie cost $15 million to make, and it made over $120 million.
Oh,
Huge success.
huge.
The whole franchise as a whole
Yeah.
has sold over $1 billion.
Holy buckets.
So it's a huge cash cow.
Well,
We thought Friday the 13th was a big deal.
man, that's nuts when you think about just like
How
the
much money that is?
per movie. So, you talk about like, oh man, another one of these. Well, it makes sense. Like
Uh-huh.
if you're churning them out, I mean, granted, by the time they get to 4, I bet it's getting pretty expensive to continue to, 1, hire the same cast, and then 2, you have to keep upping the ante
Yup.
with all of the action sequences.
For
so
sure.
that gets super expensive. But yeah, I mean, when you look at it, if it's a profit, it's a profit, I guess.
And Lethal Weapon 3, that one raked in the most dough.
Yeah.
That one did super well.
Was that like critically like the best out
No.
of the 4?
It wasn't actually.
Oh.
No, I'll get into the Rotten Tomatoes scores here in a
okay.
little bit. But Roger Ebert actually helped make this movie a big deal because it had very, very low advertising going in. It just didn't receive a whole lot of confidence from the studio. And Ebert watched it and he gave it 4 stars. And then after they got these great reviews, they instantly pumped a bunch of money in to help publicize it and get people to the theater. Oh. So that helped kind of save the movie. And it released at number 1 for 3 weeks. And then a movie called Blind Date came out. What's the movie Blind Date about, Rach?
Not this old thing. Blind Date is the story of the newly blinded Vietnam vet who is returning home from war. We don't really know.
No, they never tell you?
It's not specifically laid out.
Is there a Blind Date 2 where maybe they go into the backstory?
There's a lot of gaps in this movie, I'll say. Okay. I think that's probably one of my biggest critiques is that they don't really flush out the histories of the characters as well as you would want them to. So it just kind of follows like his escapades as he moves around and tries to find love.
Oh, okay. Is it like a rom-com?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So it's more like dating adventures, but he's blind. He's trying to get through them and everything.
Yeah, but he's a Vietnam vet.
Oh, okay.
So it's very funny.
Sounds funny. Sounds like a hoot.
Yeah, very heartwarming.
Who's the main actor in it?
That would be Jim Belushi.
No, it's Bruce Willis. I don't know what the movie's about, but it stars Bruce Willis, and it is a rom-com. So you got a lot of that right, I'm sure.
Former.
All right, so let me tell you some of the taglines.
Cool.
If these two can learn to stand each other, the bad guys don't stand a chance. Another one. Pity the bad guys. Another one. After 20 years on the force, police detective Roger Murtaugh has come face to face with his most dangerous killing machine in Los Angeles. His new partner. Another one. 2 cops. Glover carries a weapon. Gibson is one.
That's
another
one. I saw.
He's the only LA cop registered as a lethal weapon. What's your favorite?
Oh, there were way too many for starters for me to pick one, but I like that one where like his body is one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. Glover carries a weapon. Gibson is one.
Gibson is one.
Yeah, that's the one. I like that one too.
That's the fun one.
All right, Rotten Tomatoes score. This movie got an. Do you want to guess?
67.
Nope. Higher.
Oh, dang it.
You always get mad whenever it goes the direction you don't want it to go.
Because it shouldn't go up. Come on. 85.
Nope, it's lower than that. 80%.
80 though.
So this one got an 80. The audience score is 86. Critics' consensus is the most successful installment in a phenomenally successful series. Lethal Weapons helps redefine action movies for the 80s and the 90s. Sequels, the second one that I watched, got an 84%. I actually disagree. I think the first one's better.
Okay.
The third one got a 60%.
Okay.
And then the fourth one got a 53%. The only rotten in the group.
Gotcha.
All right.
I guess I think the part of it that's hard is that it's one of those things that kind of set the tone for all these future cop movies, but I just think there have been some since that I like better.
Some action movies, buddy action movies?
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about them?
I could, but I mean, you might get upset, and then if we watch it, then you'll be spiteful about it.
No, let's do it. Let's dance, dickweed.
So I know that this one is Lethal Weapon is like historically significant, right?
Okay.
But I'll be honest, I think The Heat is more.
I've never seen The Heat.
Is more enjoyable than this, and it does similar the straight-laced cop with the crazy one.
Oh, okay.
Mixed together, the odd couple. But this did it first, so it's hard to say. You know, it's hard to say, but I think it does it better. I think The Heat does it better.
Any others? Is that the only one?
That's really the only one.
Starsky and Hutch, or Tango and Cash.
No.
Or that one with Josh Hartnett and Harrison Ford where they almost killed each other legitimately on set, they hated each other.
Yeah, I forgot about that one.
There's that one.
I think this one's a close second. It goes The Heat and then this one.
And Lethal Weapon.
As far as
you know what? I would take that.
Cop movies.
I would take that score for you. I'd be like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah.
All right. So some other random little trivia facts. There is a deleted scene in this movie where
Just
Riggs,
one?
Mel Gibson, sure, just one, where Riggs invites a prostitute in, but he doesn't have sex with her.
Mm-hmm.
He just tells her he wants to watch TV with her.
Oh, sad.
So he like buys her time, and then they just watch TV.
He's so lonely.
Yeah, he just wants to be with somebody.
He's so lonely. Can we talk about how when he's at the end and he's putting flowers on his wife's grave at Christmas and he's wishing her a Merry Christmas? Did you find it weird that he uses her full name when he says he's like, Merry Christmas, Victoria Lynn? It's like, what?
But I call you Rachel Ann.
Yeah, but not like that. I don't know. It was weird.
I don't know. I didn't think it was that weird. But it was maybe a little weird.
It was
It was
weird
like Joe
enough for-
Biden weird. It was just like awkward, but like you're not gonna like. He's not offensive, and doesn't make you feel really weird. It's just like, why are you doing that? It's more just a question.
That's probably a really great
Biden
example.
weird.
That's a really great example.
Yeah.
Another weird part. Can we talk about how at the beginning when it's Danny Glover's birthday and his family runs in to wish him a happy birthday, he's in the bathtub.
Yep.
He is naked in the bathtub, taking a bath. There's some bubbles.
Yep.
The whole family comes in, and it's not like it's his wife and like his little kids. Like he has a grown-ass daughter, and they all come in and they're like, Dad, happy birthday.
How old is his daughter?
I don't know, old enough to not want to see your dad naked in the bathtub.
Well, I had a problem because I didn't know if his daughter was in high school or college, because they talked about drinking, and she said she got in trouble for smoking pot in the house, and she goes, "Why is that bad? But drinking's not." And he goes, "Because pot's illegal right now." And then, but he doesn't seem to be. And then she brings up, "Well, I'll just grab a beer then." And then I was like, "Well,
she might be 18.
Is she toying with him, or is she over 18? So he's like, you can drink, but you can't smoke pot because it's illegal."
The legal age used to be 18 to drink, and
In
it
the
might have been
80s?
around. Yeah.
Okay.
Remember for our parents.
Yeah, but I didn't know if that was in the 80s or not.
I mean,
87 when we were born.
I don't know.
We should have been
I don't know when
fathered
it
into it.
changed, but at any rate, I think she was in high school.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was what I was going off of.
Like a senior in high school?
Yeah.
She's not in high school number 2, I'll tell you that.
She's in number 2.
Of course she's in number 2. Yeah, she makes a commercial. She's going to be an actress, which makes me wonder if now she's out of college. Maybe she was in college in this one and she's out of college
But
in the
living
second
at
one.
home?
And then in number 3, I think it's number 3. No, it's number 4. She gets married. Guess who she gets married to?
Riggs.
Nope.
Oh.
Chris Rock.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, Chris Rock's in number 4.
That's fun.
Yep. And then
Is he Chris Rock in it? Does he play himself?
no, he plays another like young cop.
That would have been cool.
But no, Riggs finds love in number 3.
Oh.
He
okay.
marries oh gosh, well, I don't forget what the actress's name is, but he finds a girl and she's like a tough badass cop, and
perfect.
she's in 3 and 4 with them.
Oh,
So
fair.
3 is like them getting together, and 4 I think they're married, and Riggs is about to retire. He has to come out of retirement. He's like, gosh dang, I'm getting too old for this shit.
Love it.
But as far as kids enjoying your birthday at your bathside,
Wasn't that weird?
no.
You
That's
didn't
what I
thi-
want to have.
Did you
happen.
ever think that was weird before I brought that up?
No, I want the kids, every birthday I have, I want the kids, no matter how old they are, to come in, give me kisses and give me presents while I'm naked in the bathtub. I feel like that's what you do.
It was weird.
It's Biden weird. It's not weird.
Can we also talk about how his house, the kitchen, was under construction and we never talked about why?
They just needed new stuff.
Do you see that though? Like one of the walls was like broken down and it was like they were in the middle of a home renovation. And like I mean I must have missed it if they said something like, "Oh yeah, we're redoing our kitchen." Like there's a whole wall
I guess,
and there's just boards hanging
you know
up.
what didn't bother me is because in number 2, and this is the one I'm really familiar with, and I always have been, and that one, his house is under construction too, and you actually meet the guy working on his house.
Oh.
And like they're redoing his like garage in that one, and then there's stuff in the house that's also being redone.
Okay.
And he takes a nail gun at one point in that movie, and in Murtaugh like gets somebody with the nail gun over and over again.
Very
so
cool.
yeah, that
I
movie
think I want to watch number 2.
they go into it a little bit more.
Yeah. Well, I must have missed it. Maybe they said something. Maybe it was one of those mumbled voiceover things like, "Oh, yeah, look over here." Yeah, something like that.
Now this movie was supposed to have a different ending. Tell me what you think about this ending.
Okay.
It was supposed to be there's a truck full of cocaine at the end, and it blows up, and coke falls from the sky like snow, and there's so much coke that it builds up like a snow gathering on the Hollywood sign in L.A. That was what the original ending was going to be.
I love it. That's fantastic.
Now, in Lethal Weapon 2, they thought about killing Riggs. Mel Gibson at the very end of that movie.
Oh
and you can see at the end of the movie, like, when he was supposed to die, but instead of him dying, he, like, becomes a joke, and they start laughing and stuff. Like, it was like, made Murtaugh think he was dying. Danny Glover thought he was dying, but he wasn't. But they were going to kill him off, but they decided not to, because they thought the franchise might have a little bit more lucrativeness that was going to be able to be exploited. But there was a scene in this movie, which you kind of already touched on, where Riggs, it almost looks like he's going to kill himself. Do you want to talk about that scene?
I mean, it was pretty riveting. It really does harken back to Mel Gibson. Back in the day, he was very good.
His acting.
He was very good.
There's a scene he's looking at a picture of his wife. Rach already kind of set it up earlier in the podcast. And then he's got this gun, and he's like playing with the gun. He's like cleaning it and stuff. And he puts this one bullet in the gun, and then he holds it to his head, and he's like crying, and the tears are just streaming out of his face, and he puts it in his mouth, and he just doesn't have the strength to pull the trigger.
It was gut-wrenching.
His acting is grade A+.
No bullshit. You want to kill yourself? Oh, for Christ. Shut up! Yes or no? You want to die? Yes or no? I got the job done. What the hell do you want? Didn't answer the question.
Oh, what do you want to hear, man? Do you want to hear that sometimes I think about eating a bullet? Huh? Well, I do. I even got a special one for the occasion with a hollow point. Look, make sure it blows the back of my goddamn head out. Do the job right. Every single day I wake up and I think of a reason not to do it. Every single day. And you know why I don't do it? This is going to make you laugh. You know why I don't do it? The job. Doing the job. Now, that's the reason.
You want to die?
I'm not afraid of it. I ain't afraid of it.
Here, take my gun. Don't nibble on the barrel. Pull the trigger. Go ahead, pal. Be my guest. Go ahead if you're serious.
You shouldn't tempt me, man.
And I'm going to go on record in this episode. I know I'm going to catch flack for it. I think Mel Gibson is one of the best actors of all time.
I think that that's actually fair, because it's one of those things, and you won't like this comparison, but it's kind of like with Michael Jackson. You can say that Michael Jackson is an amazing performer and an amazing musician. Is he troubled? Was he troubled? Yes. Did Mel say some things and do some things that were awful? Yeah.
Sure.
But
yes.
But he has, I don't know, I'm not going to do the apology thing, but he has come out and has, done some amends on some of it. But I don't know, there's just, and
Yep.
We don't have to get into.
He had alcoholism. He suffered from alcoholism.
Yeah.
He said some really racially charged
things.
And he was.
There were some domestic violence pieces that were brought up, not confounded, but at any rate, that, and then just I don't remember specifically the anti-Semitic comments, but
it was about
during Passion.
He said that people know it was after.
Oh, okay.
Which is interesting, because in that, Jim Caviezel is the only non-Jewish person that plays a Jewish person in that movie.
Oh.
So all the other apostles, they're all actual people from Israel, actors from Israel. But after that movie, he got pulled over, and he's super wasted, and he's saying stuff about how the Jews run Hollywood and about all these anti-Semitic stuff.
Yeah.
It wasn't good. It was awful. But if we're just talking about acting, I just want to talk about acting.
Let's just
talk
talk
about
about
humanity, because what's his name, who's the Joker, who's awesome. Joaquin Phoenix also is known to be a crazy person who said nutty things in the past.
Yes.
But he is
the
phenomenal.
craft of acting is strong with this one.
Yes. So Mel,
I agree 100%.
Braveheart, oh my gosh, one of the best performances of all time. I think he's absolutely amazing. I think he's so good in so many movies. And it sucks. It's one of those things. It's like, we have to think about the bad things now, because he was so good. If you just take those bad things out of it, I think we all can agree he's so awesome. I'm going to go on record right now. Kenneth Branagh is the best film Hamlet of all time. Number 2, Mel Gibson.
Mm.
And anybody who tries to tell me David Tennant or Ethan Hawke, they both are awful. Ethan Hawke is just kind of bad. David Tennant is terrible. And I will fight that
Hot
all the
take-
way home.
Hot take tie.
Hot take Ty is out. Mel's number 2. Go watch his Hamlet again if you're like, nah, it's awesome. Go watch it. And speaking of that scene that we were just talking about, so Franco Zeffirelli, who did the original Romeo and Juliet with the 16-year-old who's naked in the film or whatever that we all saw in high school.
In high school, yep.
Yep. So Franco Zeffirelli, he directed that Hamlet with Mel. And the reason he cast him was right after he saw that scene with the gun.
Oh,
he was
no
like,
way.
this guy's tremendous. I have to work with him.
Yeah.
And so then they got the ball rolling on that Hamlet.
Yeah, I could definitely see why one would start to think that, but I'll be honest, that's a big leap though to assume that someone can do shakes.
Yeah, for sure. That is a leap for sure.
I mean, it's a fantastic scene, but that does not equivocate to being able to speak in verse or whatever.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
That was
because
bold.
you can be a wonderful actor,
for sure.
but you can't handle text and you can only do contemporary
That's
and you
fine.
can't do Shakespeare.
That's fair.
And yeah, that's fine. It's just that's what the good Lord gave you. And but I thought Mel pulled it off.
It's been
Go
a
check it
while,
out.
but I'll be honest, in AP English, that is the version that our teacher showed us
Well, it
was
makes
Mel
sense,
Gibson. So
Because it's so good.
she must have thought that was good too.
Yeah.
So-
And she probably didn't have time for the Kenneth Branagh one.
That's right.
I don't have 4 hours I could devote to this for you guys. I'm sorry. Now, one reason that scene might have been so impressive is because of the bullet blank that he put in his chamber. He put an actual bullet blank in that chamber of the gun before he put it in his mouth, which I'm pretty sure that can kill you.
Yeah.
Because isn't that how?
At that close range,
Isn't that how? What's his name from The Crow died?
Jet Li.
Not Jet Li. Brandon Lee,
Yeah,
Bruce
his
Lee's son.
son.
I think that was a blank that was too close as well, or maybe they put a real thing. I don't remember.
I think it's something
But
misfired,
there's-
but like that.
There's something with blanks
Uh-huh.
where you can't, like, we talk about this in like gun safety for the stage as well.
Mm-hmm.
You can't put a gun like you're gonna shoot yourself right up to your head if it has a blank in it,
Mm-hmm.
because if it goes off, you can actually get hurt or it can kill you.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm pretty sure that that's crazy dangerous at the same time.
I'm pretty sure Mel was like crazy awesome.
Oh my gosh.
Regulations be damned.
So there's a scene with Mel where he talks about his Vietnam assassinations or whatever. He says the name of a battle that he was a part of.
Okay.
And what's really interesting is later on in his career, I've never seen this movie. It's super good. We Were Soldiers.
Oh yeah.
Mel Gibson plays an army commander on the ground during like the first battle of Vietnam. And it's the same exact battle that he mentions in Lethal Weapon.
No way.
So if you think about it, that's his character later. Lethal
Whoa.
Weapon comes after We Were Soldiers.
Yeah, he grows out his mullet and he.
It's not a mullet. It's just a long,
wears
sweet
his
haircut.
cowboy boots and his cute little jeans, and yeah, I love it.
Is there a part of you that wishes I had hair like that? Like, just to see what it would be like?
I mean, is there a part of me that wishes like we could just like jump back into like the late 80s and just like live that for a week? Yeah, 1,000%. 1,000%. But not probably for the long term. That's a lot of product and a lot
Yeah.
of like time. Like,
It's voluminous.
oh, do you know how you have to do it? Well, you have to blow dry it with a special like feathering comb to like get it to stand up like that, and then you've got to like spray it and texture it. Like that's not. I mean, maybe some people can just roll out of bed with that kind of textured hair, but I think that takes a lot of work to get that poof.
He did that every day.
Or somebody did that for him every day.
Wow. See,
Yeah.
now, if somebody was doing it for me, that'd be cool. But, oh my gosh.
I just can't.
I can't even put like 2 little squirts of gel in my hair every day. Like, I do that like once every 3 weeks.
He's probably the only man I can ever think that I've been attractive to who's had long hair like that.
Really?
I can't think of long hair on, and maybe Brad Pitt in like Legends of the Fall, but that's it.
Yeah, that's true.
I can't think of anybody else who that's ever worked for me personally. That's a hard look to pull off.
It is. It really is.
It is.
But, I mean, he looks really charming
He
with that
looks
feathery
great.
hair. It looks pretty
It's
cool.
gorgeous mane.
Did you know there's a Lethal Weapon TV show? It's got one of the Wayans brothers in it.
What? Like now? Like currently?
I
Or
think it
used
went
to be on
4
TV?
seasons. I don't know if it's still going on, but I think it was like very recent. Like it
Oh.
might have been going on like a couple years ago still.
No.
Like in 2019 maybe.
I did not know that.
Yeah. I think there's 3 or 4 seasons of it.
Okay.
Yep.
That's fun.
Yeah, you should check it out.
You should check it out.
So, Rach, let's talk. Do you have anything that you would like to bring up?
I think I hit most of my points, but I think I did have just one more. Oh, yes. I had one more unlikely bit that I just wanted to touch on. So at the very end, the daughter has been taken ransom, right? And then we're doing this, like, the little standoff in the desert where it's like, all right, let her go and I'll give you me or whatever. And chaos ensues, and then the daughter gets into the car and she's told, like, he's like, drive away. And so she starts driving, and she's just driving through this open desert. Just it's a limo or it's a longer car or something like that. And then the bad guys are like, go after her. And so then they send the helicopter after her. And this helicopter is just like, it's like bouncing on.
It should have never.
I was just so confused.
It should have never worked for the helicopter to stop the car. The car can turn much faster than the helicopter, like do quicker turns and stuff. For one thing, I just thought she was an idiot.
Yeah.
I was like, this girl's dumb.
Yeah, her driving was crazy. But, like, even the helicopter just, like, bouncing, like, next to it or, like, bouncing on top of it, just, like, nudging it. It's like, what is the plan here, fellas?
Which, if she just turned into it, I think she could have crashed that helicopter and killed those guys and got out of there.
Yeah, but then she ends up going over this hill and she gets stuck on a bush or something like that in the middle of the desert, like, where there's nothing there. She hits, like, the one tuft of bush.
That's why I think she just was like kind of an idiot in that situation. She was just crying. She was blinded by tears. She was just
the helicopter.
She didn't keep her cool.
Attacking her. Yeah.
Do you think you could have kept her cool in that situation?
More so than that. Now, am I still going to get stopped by the helicopter? Probably somehow.
How? How are you going to get stopped?
I don't know. I'm not really sure, but it's movie magic.
See, and I feel like there's no way I get stopped by the helicopter. If it's me in the car versus the helicopter, I think the helicopter can track me. Yeah. The helicopter can't stop me.
No one can
unless they're going to
me.
shoot out my tires or something.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, at some point, they're going to have to start using force, right?
Well, why didn't they do that right off the bat? Why'd they play bumper cars?
Because it was way cooler to watch this helicopter try to land on top of this moving car. I was like, what is happening?
Yeah, it was pretty wild.
So that was crazy.
So you loved that. You loved the ending fight sequence.
Love that.
Yep.
Love the rain and Mel Gibson's dry hair in the rain.
Yep.
As he said, Merry
Just
Christmas.
like an Ever After.
Exactly. Same hair. Ooh.
Yeah, same hair.
Yeah, a little bit longer in the back for Mel. Longer.
But I would say that guy from Ever After was really trying to copy Mel's haircut.
He can also pull off a long hair, too.
Yep.
Okay, that's another guy.
There's three.
I'm going to start making a list of
all the guys
men
with
I'm attracted
long
to
hair.
with long hair. It's not a long list. It's a very short list.
In Count of Monte Cristo, I think that Edmond Dantes, Jim Caviezel, has some nice long hair.
Well, then I guess you can start making your own list.
That's my list.
That's
Mel Gibson,
number
Jim
one for you
Caviezel,
there.
2 of my favorite actors. 1, 2.
1 and 2.
What was your favorite part of the movie?
Oh, I didn't think about that. I kind of wish we had more back and forth with the cops.
Yeah.
Our two main guys. I liked when Mel went over to his house and they had dinner and they made fun of his wife's cooking and then they're like shooting the breeze out on the boat and like. Again, so anytime there's an action movie, my favorite parts are always like, let's talk. Let's have a little bit more exposition.
Sure.
You know, that kind of stuff. Let's get to know our characters here. Those were probably my favorite parts. And I wish they would have bumped up the voiceover work because I think that would have been funny. I'm really curious about number 2. If you said like number 2 is a bit sillier as far as like the back and forth
but
stuff.
you don't know. That's the thing. That's why I'm saying it's more of the Mel movie because you don't get the back and forth as much.
Oh,
and in fact, Joe Pesci, who's in number 2, kind of steals a little bit of the comedic charm away from it. He does a great job, but you lose the two back and forth being funny, and you get more Joe Pesci as funny, and they're both making fun of Joe Pesci.
Yeah.
Yeah. And rather than like the guys from Odd Couple, Felix and Oscar. You don't get as much Felix and Oscar in number 2. Yep.
Well, I'll tell you what, when and if we watch The Heat, you'll get plenty of that.
Plenty of Felix and Oscar?
Plenty of Felix and Oscar.
Yeah. Okay. Makes me a little nervous.
You're nervous. It'll be fun.
All right. So that last fight scene, here's my question. Were there moments in this movie where I lost you because I couldn't tell? Sometimes I thought like, ooh, I might be losing her here in this chase scene or this fight scene. But then there were times where I was like, no, I think I might still have her.
No, you had me through the ending fight scene on the lawn with the fire hydrant and the 50 cops and the spotlight from the helicopter, I was engaged.
Yeah.
I was laughing, but I was engaged.
Even though, did you notice how horrible at shooting bad guys are?
Oh.
Like, bad guys are really bad shots.
1000%. I mean, that's historical.
And I know they put in the movie, like, Mel and Danny are really good shots. Like, you see them at target range, which is a really fun scene, where they're shooting targets, and Danny Glover gets it right in the head. Like, he draws his gun and he shoots.
Yep.
And it's really cool. By the way, he does that move in number 2 to get rid of the main bad guy.
Oh,
and he does
very
the draw
cool.
and shoot right there, right
Like
to
a
the
Western.
forehead. Yep, like a Western. And then Mel puts the target way further back in the range, and then he draws a smiley face on it, which is really funny.
Yeah.
It just to like show up Danny Glover. So they do talk about how good of shots those two are.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I just had a problem with these like special forces guys who are getting hired, these mercenaries. And they're so bad at shooting.
Yeah. Just always at the feet, 2 feet in front of you.
Yep. Yeah, like there's
behind
that
you.
moment where Danny Glover's running in the desert.
Yeah, and it's
they
very
miss
obvious
him.
because you can see all of their strays, and it's like, why
What?
are you aiming
would
at the ground?
Yeah, why are you missing so bad? And you know what those really are? There's these little cap things that
Sure.
explode that you put on surfaces.
Sure.
So you can put them on like drywall, and it busts, and it shows like a gunshot exploded there.
Sure.
And so I'm sure they had those all over the desert to have
Yeah.
the sand pop up. But still,
Yeah.
you're like, oh, that's dumb.
Yeah. No, I think the only time that I tend to zone out, and I did a little bit in this one, was during the car chase. Car chases don't do it for me.
Did you ever see that movie with, I wish I remember the name of it, with Josh Hartnett and Harrison Ford?
I did, but I don't remember it.
That whole last, like, dude, it's like a 30-minute thing. And that's what it's, like, known for.
Car
it's
chase?
this long car chase at the end of the movie. Like,
Yeah.
it's its claim to fame. So, and you love Josh Hartnett. I wonder how you would have done with that.
I probably would have held on a little bit longer, but I'll be honest, I don't know. I don't know what it is. And I think they're probably expensive to do when you think
Yeah.
about
Oh, for
cars and
sure.
like flipping and having to close off ramps and things like that. There's explosions. Usually there's a lot that goes into it. But
But
I
you like
just-
those Daniel Craig James Bond movies? Because they all have those.
Yeah, but not like as long. It's more like,
You like The Dark Knight?
yeah.
They have that huge car
But
chase.
not that. I don't know how to describe it. It's just more. They do it more interesting. They tell a better story.
Yeah, well, Dark
than-
Knight for sure does.
Yeah, yeah. Don't try to make me doubt myself. I'm pretty sure I don't like car chases, except for a couple.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
What about bike chases, like in the Goonies?
Very cool, but they
Yeah.
also make me very tired because
Oh,
I think
okay.
about how fast you have to pedal,
Yeah,
and it's exhausting.
sure.
Do you have some favorite moments in this movie?
I love the moment with the gun. I
Mm-hmm.
think that's my favorite moment in the whole movie. I love the sequence where right after they have had dinner. And well, I like the dinner scene too because his daughter, Danny Glover's daughter, is crushing on Mel Gibson big time.
I love
And
that.
I love that part. And even in number 2, you still see that she has a crush on him, but she has a boyfriend who they invite over, and she does this commercial. And this commercial is a condom commercial.
What?
And they don't know that until they're watching the commercial because she's going to be this actress.
Oh my gosh.
And it's a condom commercial. And then what's funny is later on in the movie, Joe Pesci's like, oh, I love this commercial. The main girl's so hot or whatever. And Danny Glover like turns off the TV like, shut up, you asshole. But so, yeah, I love the whole like she's crushing on him really bad while they're like talking and stuff. And they have a fun dialogue around that section.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that their relationship is really charming. And I think the acting's pretty good from both of those two, big time.
I would agree. I
Yep.
would definitely agree.
All right.
All
I'll-
right.
Go ahead and give me your rating. Tell me what you think.
Oh man.
Or tell me your review. Or do you want to hear my rating?
Yeah, let's hear your rating.
Okay. So I am dropping Devil Wears Prada down from 74 to 58.
Oh,
It's
shots
rotten.
fired.
It's a rotten movie. I don't know why I gave it a 74. That was ludicrous.
Ludicrous.
That movie's horrible. 58. I should drop it to 54. This movie, I'm going to give a 65%.
Okay. I think that's pretty fair.
Yeah.
I would like to give it a 63%.
You always have to be more negative.
Not that much more negative, just a little bit. I didn't like it as much as you did.
Have
I think
there
that would
been
be
movies-
unfair. If I said 65, you'd be like, "That you didn't like it at 65." That'd be a lie.
If there was a movie,
63.
I wonder if there's been a movie that was my movie that you rated higher than I did.
No. Probably not.
No.
Well,
The only one I can think of is
the
like
movies
My
that
Girl or
you've
Say Anything.
Oh, maybe My Girl. Or maybe Say Anything.
Oh, yeah, I
Yeah.
had My Girl pretty high too.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I just
we'll
think,
do
think
this
of
research
the
and
movies
come
that
back.
you showed me, though.
They're awesome. They're all cool.
They're all amazing.
Yeah, the only one that I might have missed a little bit of the boat was maybe Ladybugs.
Oh, we jumped off the boat and sunk it 10 feet out into sea. That was awful.
I don't know. That was a pretty cool movie still. Like, it told a cool, riveting plot and story.
Awesome. Should I give you my review?
Let's do it.
Okay.
Let's do it.
This is a poem that I had composed entitled Lethal Weapon, the OG buddy cop movie. Bad guys beware. Ooh, that Mel Gibson's hair. 63%.
63%. Okay. Okay. All right. Hey, I have a couple other questions to ask you, though.
Okay.
Mel Gibson or Josh Hartnett?
Josh Hartnett.
Mel Gibson in Lethal Weapon or Josh Hartnett now?
Josh Hartnett now.
What? You don't even know what he looks like. Could be really chunky.
I'll take that risk.
Mel Gibson's got that perfectly smooth butt. Like he had to shave his butt, by the way. There's no way.
I feel
his butt
like
that's
you can see
hairless.
like a bit of stubble too, like
in his butt.
Yeah, I think so. Like it wasn't waxed; it was a shave job. I think there's like a little bit like I think you have a hairy butt.
Well,
I'm pretty sure you do.
I told you I was like he doesn't really have a butt. His butt kind of like just blends in with the rest of his body, kind of like mine. We both don't have butts.
And I think I told you, oh, there's enough there. I believe that was my response.
I thought you were talking about me. You were talking about Mel. Were you checking out Mel's butt?
I mean, it was there. It was there in all its glory. That would be considered partial nudity.
So I also have to ask you.
Okay.
And now, granted, this is just from what your memory remembers when we watch this around Christmas time.
Mm-hmm.
Lethal Weapon or Die Hard?
Oh, that is a good question.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm trying to remember Die Hard. I feel like I liked Die Hard's like story better. I feel like it was a little bit more complicated.
Coming to a Christmas party, bunch of terrorists take over an office building in the middle of Los Angeles. There too,
probably, and like the wife can't like divulge that she's her husband.
Yeah, and I think they're actually getting are they getting a divorce?
Yeah, there's
and
some kind of marital
she's
piece.
kind of like seeing a guy, but like I don't think anything's happened yet. But they're like starting an affair a little bit.
Yeah, or just dating or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I like that better just because of the interpersonal pieces that are going on. And it's got what's his face in it.
Severus Snape.
Yeah.
Alan
but
Rickman.
he's like he's German in it, isn't he?
Yeah, I think
Isn't his name Hans?
Russian or something, yeah.
I think his name's Hans something.
Yep.
So
you're gonna say Die Hard?
I'm gonna say Die Hard because it has more of what I like in action movies in it, but I did really enjoy Lethal Weapon.
Sure.
I did.
I'm going to for now just say Die Hard is tied at 65 as well because I don't remember. I have to watch it again. Maybe a Christmas episode. We'll see.
I think you could do both of these in a back-to-back Christmas, like...
Lethal Weapon and Die Hard?
Yeah, for a little marathon.
That would be a fun marathon.
Everyone's like, oh, let's watch Elf. Let's watch It's a Wonderful Life. What about Lethal Weapon, guys?
Yeah, and Die Hard back-to-back.
Christmas trees in it.
Yeah, it does. Got some Christmas music.
Say no more.
Yep. Okay. Well, good to know.
Yeah.
What about Lethal Weapon versus Under Siege?
Under Siege?
I don't know. I'm just picking random franchises.
I've never heard that one. Lethal Weapon?
That's the one with Steven Seagal. He's on a boat.
Steven Seagal?
Yeah.
Seagal.
Yeah.
Did you say Seagal?
No. Steven Seagal.
Seagal.
Well, listen to the tape back. Be a judge for yourself.
Yeah, definitely Lethal Weapon.
Oh, okay. The second one, he's on a train. All right. Well, I'm
going to ponder that.
Okay. Awesome. All right. Well, that's the end of the episode.
Yeah.
And
next
week, Rach, what you got for us?
Yes, next week will be my last movie for this season.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to do a movie that technically cheats a little bit. So Ty and I have both seen this movie, although I feel like I've seen it way more times than he has.
I like it, though.
Probably. Yeah, it's a good one. We're doing it because it is the 20th anniversary this summer.
The 25th, I think.
Yeah.
It probably came out mid-90s.
Yeah. So celebrated its 25th anniversary. We meant to do it in July, but summer. How it gets away from you. So the last movie of the season for me, we're going to watch Clueless.
Yes, queen.
It was so sassy. Such a sassy.
I'm a saxophone. Sassy, sassy sax.